Hello out there.
Hello.
And hello to a new episode of Data Talks by two true experts. You will learn why and how and who that is. Today we're talking about ETIM. You might ask, what is ETIM? So we're going to go there. But I hear continued many industrial manufacturers and let's say B2B technical distribution companies are asking, how do I get control of ETIM in the context of master data management? So we want to tackle that together with two experts who have joined me from Avencia. Avencia is a very experienced digital information and commerce advisory company across multiple countries in the Nordics. And I'm glad to learn more about your personal profile today. Maybe first of all, let's learn and get introduced to Ulrich Lilius.
Hi, thanks, Ben. Yes, correct. My name is Ulrich Lilius, and I work as a business advisor at Avencia. And I've been working with PIM MDM for the last 10, 12 years. And before that, I was into marketing and also into ERP systems before that, actually. But I like this one. It's real good. Hit me, Magnus.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm Magnus Hedberg, also working as business advisor at Avencia. Been around working with PIM and MDM for quite a few years and in the IT industry for at least the last 20 years.
Thanks for taking the time today. So first of all, maybe a basic question we have to figure out, Ulrich. Yeah. What is ETIM?
Well, ETIM, it's kind of a technical information model that started up in the 1980s, where we had to we had to agree what kind of attributes we needed on different kind of items and products. And this data model has been growing. So today we're up to about 5 different sectors that has joined the ETIM model and the ETIM database and we have 5 sectors today, yes. And it helps us actually to categorize different kind of items and also get information based on the categorization. What kind of attributes do I need? And what kind of attributes value can I handle on these items and products? That's a short one.
Thank you. So what if I think of, let's say, a true business example, right? Where is that relevant?
Well, for example, the ETIM model is global for the first time. So if I have we can say a hammer in my English version, and I will go further and sell it outside the country, and I can go where I want to sell it. If I classified it as a hammer, it will still be a hammer in all different countries based on the ETIM, because we just named out this classification with keys. So it will be the same all over the world.
And in you have the different attributes. So if you wonder, what is the length of a hammer? Is that the length of the hammer head, or is it of the handle? All those things are standardized.
Exactly.
Got it.
So based on the classification, you will get a setup of different kind of attributes that you might need, might fill in. Someone might be mandatory, some will be optional, but you get a set of attributes that you will be preferred of you as a manufacturer.
Good. So that means it helps at the end, on the one hand side, companies to sell. But on the other hand, the receivers, and let's say, if you search for a product, you know what you will get.
Exactly.
So there are many industry standards around in this world. So how is ETIM different from others?
Well, I think ETIM is the biggest standardization according to attribute setups it started up in Europe, fine. But now we go global over the world. They're using it, and specifically on technical information items. But it's growing. We have today 5 different sectors. It's building, it's electric, it's shipbuilding, it's HVAC and sanitary, and we also have tools, hardware. So it grows all the time, because it means that you can actually you can create something. You can make an item that's actually still. It's lacking. Is it only for me?
Mm-hmm.
No, we can hear you. You lost the words.
Everything good.
Okay. Well, where we go from there then?
All right.
Cut it
No,
out.
fine. That's fine. Totally good. So, and it's natural. That's life, and that's also internet speed topics. So, we're trying to make the people learn something here. So, let's say if I'm, whatever industrial distributor, let's say, how do I get started using ETIM for my business?
So there are actually 3 steps. You could start by using the ETIM for categorizing your data. That means that you could add an ETIM class to your different articles. So different persons with different contexts understand what it is this. Is it a hammer? Is it a cord? Is it a charger? What is it? And then the second level is that you can select the attributes that belongs to these different classifications. And the third one is that you can start actually to enrich the different lists, because there is a cooperation work where you can contribute to the ETIM value lists. So if you need more options to choose between, as the products are evolving and the industries are evolving, you can also participate in that work. So by these 3 different levels, you can make your own choice on what you want to use ETIM for and what part you want to work with.
Yeah, excellent. And I think that's live. Thank you, Ulrich, for being back. We just talked about how to get started, right? From categorization to selecting attributes and then enrich and involving it. So I think, Ulrich, you have practiced it in the real world with different companies. So how do companies get started, and how do they take it further using ETIM for their advantage?
It depends actually if you're a provider or you're a manufacturer or you're a distributor or reseller actually. As a manufacturer, you can always start up because you need to, what kind of information does my customers need? So they have ETIM as a baseline, and then they can add on some specific attributes by themselves. But it's not in the ETIM model yet. That's one set to go, but you can always start to classify your products. That's a good start, because of the classified, then everyone else that will use your products can actually hang up what kind of attributes they need on that one. But as a manufacturer, you should at least work with the attribute sets and the attributes values as well, I think. Some of the resellers I have worked with has been using the ETIM model also for navigation on their, for example, e-commerce site. And they're using the 100% for filtration. Well, they search on the e-commerce, because the navigation, that one is old today, right? You just put in hammer, and then based on different kind of values, you will end up on the hammer that you're actually searching for. So they use the ETIM values and classification, how they actually build and navigate on their website. But to get started,
so that means in the old days you had been supplying the navigation, and now you're fueling the search logic, so to say, with it.
Exactly. But as long as you just the classification isn't that hard actually. Is it kind of, you start with the sectors and then you go down, what kind of hammer is it? Is it a sledgehammer or what kind is it? Just make that classification so you can also, when you have a lot of different, as a reseller, you have a lot of different companies that are brands that you're buying from, and you don't have to place all the different items in the specific navigation. They just make some baskets based on the ETIM classification, and they end up in the same subfolder.
Yeah. So what happens when you move towards, let's say, enriching data and taking data quality to the next level? What role does ETIM play on that?
It's different. It's depending on what you're actually doing. But if you're working from the ETIM model, you know if you should have a specific value that is data quality classified, or it should end up like a plain text field so you can add what yourself would you like to. And you also have different kind of numeric setups if you have a range and so on. So you know that it will fit into your data model if you have ETIM as a base.
So that means it's a key factor for creating standards, and standards are equal quality. You're sure what you search, you're sure what you get, and that reduces, I guess, errors and maybe the time to market, I would assume.
Yeah, it will be easier for me as a customer actually to, if I go out and search for every hammer that has this value. Of course, it'd be a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market anymore, but it is the buyer's market today. So, yeah.
Magnus, anything you want to add to that?
Well, I think there's a lot of different standards, and we have a lot of industry-specific databases, and it looks like more and more of them are looking at ETIM. So we think that within the construction industry, this is where the data goes. So if you want to work with data and attributes and classification that actually is relevant for the consumers all over the place, then this is a good way to start.
Okay, good. So assuming I work with ETIM, I know that there are frequent new releases or versions coming out. How do I, as a company, work with that and make sure I'm using it? How complicated is that? Or what do I need to take into account for it?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because there are fixed versions of ETIM, like ETIM 6, 7, or the coming 8. But there is also one version named Dynamics. And that one is like the ETIM version the way it is right now. I mean, they are adding attributes and adding classes and swapping things and merging things all the time, and they add it to the standards, and the standards also tells in what new standard is this going to be applied. But if you use the dynamics, you get everything that is added, also the coming things. So that is a bit floating, so to say. So that requires, so it's easier to work with the fixed versions. But Ulrik, how long time is there between the fixed versions? It's quite some time, right?
There used to be quite some time, yes. So what you actually could, what I suggest for companies today, it's that they work with the dynamics, but they make snapshots, internal snapshot of it. If it, okay, I will go over the dynamic from this release date, and maybe 6 months later, I can make a new snapshot. But then, of course, I have to change all in my internal data, all the changes that has been made in ETIM model. Yeah. And I also have to be aware of what my customers are using. Are they using the new one? Are they using the old one? If I should provide them with information? Do we have aligned or ETIM versions and so on? So you can go day by day, dynamic, fine, but align with your different kind of endpoints to other system, other customers, and so on. So they are aligned which ETIM version you're running.
This is where you need to be a bit careful, because when the updates are coming, it's possible that different classes or different attributes are merged or removed or replaced. So when you're updating your own data, you need to be a bit careful so you don't drop data or overwrite data. So this needs some attention.
Yeah, I think this is for sure the moment where it sounds like an alarm bell now, right? There's updates coming. How do I get control of that? Let me ask Magnus, how does then an MDM platform support companies, especially in this context of updates of ETIM? Or anyhow, how do you manage ETIM with an MDM platform? Can you a bit kind of evolve on that?
So first of all, you must understand that ETIM structure means a lot of classes and a lot of attributes. And first of all, you need to restrict if you really need all the 5 areas that Ulrich mentioned earlier. So for example, if you're not working with shipbuilding, you should definitely not use these attributes, because it will be a lot of data. It will be a lot of reference data that you need to use. Secondly,
6,295 classification values today.
Exactly. And then you have all the combinations of the different attributes with the different units and the features. So you could have them in very many combinations.
That's true. That's true. I think there's 6,000. I think there are about 50,000 different kind of attribute sets, attributes, and for at least and for the attributes value, then we go even more actually.
So when you bring all these attributes into your MDM system, probably as reference data that you can reuse on for each occurrence of this combination of feature, unit, and value, you need to make sure to not bring in everything you're not using. And secondly, you need a capable system that can hold all this data. But you also need to be aware because no matter what system you're using, this is a lot of data that will take a lot of performance if you're not designing it carefully.
So it seems like for me, I'm learning that the volume, performance, scalability for platform is important. And also the flexibility on the data model seems to be very, very key. Is that right?
That is key, definitely. And also, as we say, when you're running the updates, you need to do some parts manually, or at least have good workflows, or do some checkpoints manually so you don't overwrite data. So you need to be a bit careful before replacing attributes or updating them so you don't lose valuable data.
Yeah, I would say, right, and this is where then MDM solutions play a key role by creating overall data governance concept and executing that with the right policies and the policy execution, with dashboards to analyze, with business rules to automate, to either report or auto optimize and auto cleanse or auto enrich the actual values. I think that's where it finally gets together in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree totally with you. If you take the ETIM model, combine that with a good MDM platform and the content that the customer is actually handling, together those 3 will make success. Yes. But you can't,
I think actually,
you can't use 2 of them. You have to have 3 of them.
They are wonderful. Well said, Ulrich. I think that was a brilliant summary. I could have never said it that way, so thank you. So I have one more question, especially in the building and construction industry, right? A key component is BIM, Building Information Management. How does ETIM and MDM in that context actually play together?
Well, ETIM is helping. The ETIM model says that length actually is length, and depth actually is depth. So no matter what values you place, all BIM object know that length is length. So you can. It's the same as you and me as a consumer. We're using filters on a website. BIM objects. They're using their AutoCAD and so on. They're searching for BIM objects based on values that are standardized by ETIM. Yeah. So if you have ETIM as a base model, you can quick and easy go over to create BIM objects based on your data.
So if I'm a supplier of drywall stuff, you can know what's up and what's down, what's the length and what's the width. So it's easy for you as a CAD user or architect or construction person to understand how to use and how to put the drywall.
And actually to search them out among the drywalls. Which one can I use in a fire cell, and which can I use on the outside of my house, and so on and so on. All these values can be placed in there based on ETIM values. And we'll
Got it. Thank you.
And we'll come along with the BIM object.
Okay, very good. Thanks. So we have learned ETIM is a key standard solving a lot. But I'm pretty sure there might be cases where ETIM does not solve the full need of all attributes which are relevant to your business. What about this situation?
That's true. As I said in the beginning, it's a technical information model, right? But for consumers, we need more and more information. For example, colors, or we need shades for be exactly. When it turns on to some information, it's the color blue. Yeah, it's more like a shade. The real color, it might be midnight summer blue, for example. It's very detailed. So you have to, when you set up your model and you set up what you need in your information, you need both ETIM, especially for technical, but maybe you should combine them with your own assets and your own attribute values. So you will end up exactly what you would like to prefer on the markets.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? And MDM at the end allows you to bring that together, a standard model with enhanced or individual company relevant or brand relevant, nomenclatures, attributes, or information.
Yeah, those colors I talked about is kind of specific, but there also might be new materials. There might be new ways of measuring and so on. So you can also go back to ETIM by actually said, I would like to add this attribute value. I would like to add a new attribute. So, and once it comes into the ETIM International, it will go global after that. And it said, check one comes in the next version, as we said before, or in the dynamic as soon as they have made some of checkbox in that one. So you're not just a user, you can also be a feeder for the ETIM model.
Yeah, very good. Well said.